that sparking song. Electrify my
Welcome back to another episode of the Racing Records podcast. I'm Ryan Sharkey, and as usual, I'm joined by Dean Haggerty. We've got a special episode today. It's the first part of our podcast marathon. We're doing a fundraiser for the Irish Cancer Society, and we've decided to do 5 podcasts with 6 guests in 1 week. So we are really close to our target now. We're only, I think, €80 off now at the minute. And the link to the donation page will be in the description below. Anyway, today's guest is the peaky blogger. Most of you will know him as his name is Shane Rooney. And welcome on to the podcast, Shane.
Yeah, look, thanks for having me. It's great to get a bit of publicity on things like this, and especially like with my podcast going to be starting up now in the next week or 2 weeks anyway. So it's great to get on something like this.
And Shane, where did this all start? How did this all start for you?
Oh, well, I suppose I started off originally, like I'm a chef by trade, but I've always had a bit of a following for racing, and I suppose my love for racing started off in the time of like beef or salmon. I remember I spent an awful lot of my time in my childhood stay over with my grandparents' house and all that, and we'd be like anything got to do with horses, like they had it on, whether it was show jumping or racing or anything like that, they'd always have it on. And there was a time there when beef or salmon was really coming to the fore in Irish racing in particular, and back in 2002, so I was about 5 or 6. I think he won the Punchestown Gold Cup that year, but I remember just jokingly away with my grandparents. I says, I love beef or salmon, like, because that's all I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to be a chef, and beef or salmon was a fairly special name, and I just said I'd pick it. And just growing up, he was the only horse I wanted to know. It was like, it nearly felt like I owned a horse, if that makes sense. I just absolutely idolized him. And yeah, look, I always had a small bit of an interest. Like, the obsession didn't really kick in till I was about 17, 18. Like, and it just really kicked in then. The passion was flowing through my veins. So I basically, up to last year, I'd always an interest, but I never really thought about, say, working in the industry. And I just felt like I needed a bit of a career change. And I remember I was in either Clonmel or Thurles. It was a Tipperary track anyway. And I seen a particular jockey. I'm 6 foot, but this lad was about 3 or 4 inches taller than me anyway. And I just had a bit of a moment. I says, if that lad can keep his weight down for a jockey, I says, there should be no problem with me. And I just decided, I says, we'll give racing a go, and they try to get into a yard. And a few weeks later, Steve Mahan contacted me, and we got things set up. I did a bit of work experience with him for about, it was 2 months or just over 2 months. Literally best experience in my life. It was the biggest eye opener I ever got in my life. He made me realise it wasn't that easy now, to be quite honest with you. It definitely wasn't as easy as just sitting up on a horse and going off to the races. There's definitely an awful lot of work put into it. And I was about 17 stone, and I had a good bit to lose. But I was losing it fairly well, and got down to about 15. And he says, "Look, I don't really think you're going to make the weight for a jockey." He says, "Is there any other way you can sort of get into the industry?" Because he says, I can see you're passionate about it, like, and media just sort of came to mind, and I just said, "Look, sure, we'll set up something like the Peaky Blogger." I was actually in the middle of watching a few series of the Peaky Blinders, and I always had a sort of Peaky Blinder style cap going to the races. It was my lucky cap, and I just said Peaky Blogger, and we'll start it off. I thought it was a very catchy name. I thought it was good ways and means of playing around with, say, for different projects. Like the podcast is going to be named the Peaky Podcast, and there's a few other things
Project
down the line and all that sort of crack. But yeah, and look, I started off like that really, and geez, the support I've gotten has been massive. So that's like there's Davy Russell has retweeted one of me tweets about him. Oliver Sherwood retweeted the article on Many Clouds. Richard Johnson retweeted the one about Rooster Booster, and literally the support has just been flooding in, and the followers have been coming in fairly lively as well.
They definitely have. And well, your articles are a bit different than, let's say, what anyone else is doing right now. So would you say that's helped you a lot?
Yeah, well, sure, look at the lockdown has definitely played a massive part in that as well. Originally, when I started up, I was planning on doing, say, like just normal blogging, you could say, like just looking through the cards, picking out a few horses that took me fancy and all that. And when that all stopped, I just saw an opportunity of trying to keep the morals up and keep the positivity going, and the daily articles just have really come on very, very well. So they have, like, I think the most people it's reached so far has been, it's probably been the Davy Russell one with about 40,000 people. So it's been absolutely massive.
Yeah, that's got some views on that.
Yeah. That's
incredible for you just starting out. Like, you've only set this up when? March, was it?
Yeah, well, it was I suppose it was about 2 months ago. It was after Cheltenham, because I remember I did something like that, but it was on my personal page before, just to see if something like that catch on, and it seemed to get a good following and all that, like, and I think it was the week after Cheltenham. But yeah, so far I think I've looked up, I think it's 1,200 followers or something like that. So that in 2 months with no racing has been absolutely, it's been more than what he could expect, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the sky's the limit at the minute, like.
That's it.
And Dean, you have some questions here planned out, have you?
Well, just more bullet points and things than anything else. Shane, as we were just touching on there, you've grown rapidly on the Facebook side of it. Our own Facebook is slow at getting going, but our Twitter is flying. It's just, I think it's just the way it's going at the minute. More the racing side of things is going now more social media. Whenever you look at the likes of racing blogger and the likes of that, like, you know, I think it's a way now for the future where online the likes of ourselves and different platforms are really going to take over in the next 2 years, especially with everything that's going on in racing at the minute.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like you said, my Facebook is taken off. I'd be the complete opposite to you. Like your Facebook mightn't have taken off so much, but my Facebook had, while your Twitter is going mad, and mine is standing, I think, about 44 followers. So it's taking a bit longer than the Facebook to catch on, but look, we're getting there.
Okay, that's it. Like, it's a bit of hard work in this. It's probably just a wee bit frustrating at time to time whenever you think, oh Christ, how can't I not build that up whenever I built that up? But we think of that ourselves. You know, we kind of discuss different ways and things, but no matter what you do, it just doesn't seem to take off. Like, but if, as you say, like, a couple of your articles there have reached a lot of people, so it's good to see. And
100%. Yeah, no, but like I definitely think the social media is really going to take off now. Like you look at the likes of say Racing Post at the race as well, Sky Sports Racing now. Like all their apps, like they're all free to use, and like it saves. I know going out, say buying the Irish Field or the Racing Post like that. Like the apps are free, like you know what I mean. So like people are more inclined to say download the apps and go on them instead of buying papers or say going on. You know what I mean. It's all digital now. Like that's the thing. Like the world is moving so rapidly around digital and social media and the whole lot. So it's definitely a good platform to be on, to be starting off on anyway. Especially
Definitely. Like it seems to be, as you say, them things are now free. You know, the apps and that are free. Like and there's one paper I'll not name it, but everybody will know it. It's something like $3.20 or something for a paper. Like you wouldn't buy that every day when you can use the app for free.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, especially like with these say free apps and free websites and all that sort of crack. People are definitely more inclined to go that side of things, and they've just come to be more available than the everyday paper nowadays. If that makes sense.
Yeah, they I've read a good few of your articles on your page there, like, and all very informative, and they're a great read, and I would say that they're probably the perfect kind of article. They're not too long, whereas towards the end you're like, oh god, when's the end of this coming? And they've got the right content that people want to read. People would spend 3, 4, 5 minutes reading the article, but it's good. Like the article you done on the Charles Burns, like I love that article. Like I remember that gamble unfolding.
Yeah. Oh, stop. That's it.
But, that was one day that people will never forget. Like I don't think anybody in the racing world didn't hear about that gamble.
Oh, 100%. But like even it's gone to the stage now where if you're looking at say the build up to the races and all that, and you see a Charles Burns horse being punted in, you nearly know it's like a tip in itself sort of thing.
Oh, it is a tip in itself, surely.
Oh, that's it. Like I remember there at Cheltenham, I had tipped up. Those days are gone. I think I can't. It was some handicap hurdle anyway in the festival, and it was 25-1 when I put it up, and I think he back into I think 10-1 or
10 or 12,
like that. Like going over the last, I thought sure he was going to get up with the line, and I think it was San Rod that got up. It was brilliant festival for Barry Gorty, like especially with the year he's had, like say with online abuse and the whole lot, like it was totally uncalled for. Like he had a bad day at the office, but you look at his record and it's been nothing short of sublime, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, I see you had that article up there about Barry. But, I think Barry is he's lucky in a way, but he's very unfortunate as well. He had a bad injury and that. But
yeah, that's it.
What a lot of people don't understand is, like, the boots that he was filling are very, very big boots to fill, like stepping in for AP McCoy. He's always going to come under criticism because obviously people's going to compare him to AP because he rides for JP.
Yeah,
but it's, as you say, a lot of it's uncalled for. It's harsh.
Like, stop. It's just I do laugh at these sorts of people, like, because you see them every day. Barry Gorty has a bad ride, or whoever the case may be, but it's always the same sort of people that come out in these days and say when Barry is going well or whoever's going well, the same people, like, they're nowhere to be seen, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're
only there for the negatives.
Oh, 100%, like 100%. But yeah, look at, like, going back to the articles there. Yeah, look at, I try and keep it as informative and as short as I can. Now there's sometimes you can't really please everyone. Like there's people are still sort of saying that a few of them are too long and I didn't mention enough in this and all that sort of crack. But it's all about trying to find a happy medium sort of thing. Like the fact that I'm not qualified in journalism or I'm not qualified in writing articles. I think if I can produce something of any quality is a great start.
Yeah, but you're not going to please everyone like straight away.
Oh yeah.
The last thing you want to be doing is filling out a load of like jargon and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, it's just trying to find a happy medium and keeping myself busy in these times.
And you're always going to have trolls. Like online trolls are lethal. They're everywhere now.
Yeah, but sure, the main thing with dealing with them is you just have to
Ignore them.
or just learn how to deal with them and all that. There's going to be people that are going to try and knock you anywhere you go. No matter what you do in life, there's always going to be people that are going to be having an old sly remark or having an old jibe at you and all that. But you just have to learn how to deal with those situations.
And you're a Galway man yourself, are you?
I am.
Galway Festival is obviously a big thing for you.
Oh, stop. Jesus. Like, Galway, I'd regard as definitely one of the best festivals to go to. Like, even say for the people in the UK, like, it's definitely, it's mad in a sense because you're thrown in among the town folk and the loddy-daws and the real upper class people, and in amongst them there's a farmer Mick or a farmer John or there's another how you know sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing with Galway. Like it's just it brings the whole county together, and it's definitely one of the best weeks, say, for tourism and bringing income into the city, like, say, for smaller businesses and all that sort of crack. It's definitely, I think that's what's going to hit Galway very hard this year, like, considering it's going to be on behind closed doors if it goes ahead at all. But no, Galway has always been part and parcel in my life growing up. I remember I used to always go in with my father once a year or twice if I could, but I think he's always gone one day during the week, and I think he'd book a hostel or book a hotel in the city and go for the 3 days of the weekend then as well. We absolutely love it. Everyone in Galway, well, nearly everyone in Galway at least goes 1 day in the week. I personally love going on a Monday or Tuesday, like, because it's not absolutely jam packed, and you know there's a nice mixture of people. Like, there's great atmosphere, but it's not like the case where you're just stuck in a big crowd of people as well.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I went to Galway Monday, the Galway Festival 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and,
Monday is always a good day.
Luckily enough, I was actually part of a racing club at the time, with a runner. So,
Okay.
you know, we got the owner's badges and that, and she got into the parade ring. And, you know, it was an experience. That was my first time at the Galway Festival. But my God, what an experience. Like, it's just thriving.
Yeah.
Like, 100%. You know, I never miss the Punchestown Festival every year. You know, we book on for the weekend in Kildare.
Yeah.
We stay in the same place that the people look after us. You know, we have unbelievably great crack, and like, you know, as far as a racing festival goes, it's, in my eyes, it's right up there. Like, you know, it's probably between Galway and Punchestown. Like, it just depends what takes your fancy, but Punchestown is just unbelievable. But that Monday in Galway was something that it's just an experience and a half. We were standing in up in the owners, the way that they stand there. They've got like a wee section off for the owners, and the last race, and we were standing beside Hector O'Hockagon, is it? The boy from. And funny, he was all right, lads, and we just started talking. Like, he was all, where are you from? And I was saying, oh, we're from Muff, and he thought this was a great laugh. Oh, Muff and blah blah blah, and like, we just had a laugh chatting about how, but it's like, you just, as you say, you have a mix of people. Like, you could be talking to somebody famous standing beside you, and then the next minute, as you say, you could be running into one of the locals, and then there could be a farmer down there, or it's got a mix of everything, and it really brings a lot to the city.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I try and go one day in it, like most festivals anyway. Now, Punchestown is one I have to go to. I've never been to a Punchestown meeting before, but I've been to like the Grand National meeting, Dublin Racing Festival. Like, there's an awful lot of big meetings I've been to, and without a shadow of a doubt, Galway has to be the top of the list. I probably might be a little bit biased as well, being from Galway, but the crack you have is just unbelievable. Like, there's normally a bus or two buses from every town to just go flocking into Ballybrit. Like, I know. No, I don't drink anymore, but when I was drinking, my local would be, well, it was owned at the time by Shane Ryder's brother, the trainer.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. It's probably 3 years ago now at this stage. He had a horse, Patine. I think it was a handicap hurdle or handicap chase. He was about 33-1, and I actually got a tip for another horse in the same race, and I'd already backed it, but myself and the father just noticed that it was his only runner of the day, and he was 33-1. So two of us anyway went into Ladbrokes, and fiver each way, and each way for us both, and oh my god, I completely forgot about it, and he was looking for this other horse, and he was coming nowhere, and he was hard ridden up the hill, and I think he finished about 9th or 10th. And next I heard the old lad, and he was, "Go on, Patine!" And he's after winning by about 20 lengths.
That's the type of one you want, though.
Oh, that's it. Well, the Lord Jesus, we went back to Portumna, and Coshton was absolutely rocking. We were having the time of our life. And Kieran in behind the bar, and he was having a great whole time. He was happy out.
Good. That's what you like. They funny that day we ran on the Hector. They he had backed the same horse as we had in the bumper, and it was beat.
Yeah.
Or it was I don't know. It might not even have been the bumper. It was 1 mile 6, I think. Last races of the day, and it was beat. And coming down the stairs, that was useless. Oh Christ, and what did I do wrong? And the next thing Hector goes, "Not to worry, boys," he says, "and the Ladbrokes now. Gavin Cromwell's won in Southwell," he says, "and not be beat." And we went to Ladbrokes. Oh, here we go, bang. I can't mind now what you called it. It was it was red and white in colour, red and white checks, I don't mind that. And 75-2, I think it was 72, 5-2, and around that. I sure didn't. The thing one doing handstands, and Gavin Cromwell, I think he was even standing at the back of Ladbrokes, and the cheers and the roars. Everybody in Ballybrit must have been on that. He had 2 over that day.
Yeah, I actually remember that day. I think I was there that day myself. Yeah, we got word on the way in. The father got word there was a Cromwell double, I think.
Yeah.
I think he had a runner earlier on today as well that day, and I think the start of the day was like, it was 12-1, and it could have been 14. Could have been 2 12-1s as well. I don't know, the two of them just got absolutely punted in anyway. And I think the father only had like maybe a £5 on or something like that, something small. Like he wouldn't be a big gambler or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's safe to say I paid for the drinks that night anyway.
Like that, it was an experience that I've never ever had an experience like that where you're standing there literally everybody was locked on this horse and the queue to get paid out. I was standing 25 minutes waiting to get paid out in Labrooks.
Yeah.
It was it was just surreal. Like it was unbelievable.
Yeah, if you're in a rush in Galway, you may as well forget about it.
Oh, forget about it, right?
Oh, that's it.
And Shane, for the future now going forward, what would the ambitions be for the next, well, we'll say the next 6 months anyway, now whenever racing gets back? Have you any plan? Well, I know you've been planning away there. I've been seeing it on your social media.
Yeah, well, 6 months is a long ways away, yes, but look at it, I suppose just basically they just keep expanding, and I know the podcast is going to be the next project anyway, and a few people that I have planned coming in as guests and all that, and we'll probably get Dion as well to say thanks. But definitely when racing comes back, and especially when it gets open to the public, I'm going to be doing YouTube videos of race course reviews, something similar like what you're doing with the documentary, but this is mainly for the non-regular race goers. I know when racing was open to the public, I was going once a week, if not twice. I personally think it's the best day out or night out you can have, and it just it gets people out, and it gets people exploring the country, and just try and find the best days to recommend and all that. It'll be 5 minute videos. Like there won't be big long reviews or anything like that. It'll just be how well they're able to cope to different situations, like families, old age pensioners, even disabled access, all that sort of thing. Just say to appeal to many different types of people, sort of thing. And it's just, instead of turning on the telly or going into the local pub to get into the car and go off racing. Going forward, I suppose, yeah, I'd love to do a project on the Irish pint to pint scene. It's definitely come to be a forgotten trade. Among regular racegoers, I know deep in the racing industry, it's well regarded and all that, but say to the everyday person, they wouldn't really think about going to the pint to pints, and like it's where the stars of the future are born, you could say. Like Sven Violin, Monksfield, trying to think what Honeysuckle, Appreciated, all these horses coming through. Like it's the only real chance you get to see these future superstars for minimum price compared to the likes of the Dublin Racing Festival at €35 a head. I know my local pint to pint in Stolen, they had a race there, I think it was 2 years ago, the Monksfield, Fury Road, Pine Hill. I think they were the first three, but like even that race alone, looking at where they are now, like it's been absolutely sublime the way they've all come on. Like you could say nearly like two of them well fancied at Cheltenham, and Fury Road isn't a bad horse either. So it's definitely something that I'd like to do, and I'd like to team up with Pint to Pint Ireland and say do a sort of a short film or do a sort of an expanded article, let's just say, and just basically the main goal is just to keep expanding. I'm on 1200 at the minute. I didn't even think I'd get that far. I'm aiming to 1500 now. After that, it'll be 18. After that, it'll be to 2000. And just there's no point in resting on the laurels and just thinking Jesus is great now. Like in horse racing, you could have a great start and you could be 20 lengths clear, but that's no good if you can't keep it up all the way to the line.
Yeah, you're dead right there. There's no point just sitting back and accepting what you have. Go for more.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on the points. I go to my local point every year. It used to be just at the back of my house, but moved it since. And no, it's always good days racing.
Yeah,
it's always family fun at it, and it's a real good day out.
Yeah, that's it. But like even there in like Clare is a brilliant point to point scene, and like their tracks are absolutely gorgeous. Like Bell Harbour, you're looking to the left of you, there's big limestone mountains, and to the right of you then you're looking out in the Atlantic Ocean. Like on a good day in Bell Harbour, like it's absolutely picturesque. And only a few miles up the road then you've Quakerstown up near around the Ballyvaughan area, lovely part of the world. I lived there. I lived there last year and the year before when I was working down there as a chef. And like I think like the Clare point to point scene is definitely very strong. You've got the likes of the Costellos, the like the best mate coming through. I know nowadays it's all mainly dominated by the likes of the Bowes and like the Christies and all that sort of crack, but definitely like the Costellos, there's some horses back in the day.
And your podcast that you've coming up, when are you planning on getting that up and running?
Yeah, well, look, I got my equipment there over the last 2 days. I'm still trying to figure out how to work and all that. I'm doing a bit of playing around with it now at the minute, but if I have it up for the next Saturday or the Saturday after, the Saturday 2 weeks, I'd be fairly happy. I'm going to be doing. I'll be doing it on the Saturday evening anyway. Well, they'll be going up on the major platforms on the Saturday evening. I downloaded an Anchor account, so that'll help me distribute them to like Spotify and iTunes, all that sort of crack. And I'll probably try out YouTube as well. See as much of a following on that here to the other network. Now whether that goes up Saturday or not, I don't know. It'll probably go up Sunday or Monday. But yeah, definitely over the next 2 weeks, keep a close eye to the page because there's going to be an exciting podcast ahead.
Yeah, and I think YouTube is something that racing definitely needs to crack.
Yeah.
There's not a mainstream page kind of out there on racing.
No, that's it. But like you see the likes of champ.ie and Off the Ball and all that sort of crack. Like all them on YouTube and like the Winners and Closure and all them sorts of podcasts like that. But like they don't seem like to be getting the recognition they deserve. Like
they get thousands of views on Twitter, but on YouTube they might only get 100 or 200.
Yeah, that's it. Like it's madness. Like because like they're top quality podcasts and all that. Like and they just don't seem to take off as well as they would on different other sites.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's go on, dude.
I just think with ours, like the more you do it, the more confident you are and the better they sound. And that, like considering where we came from, Ryan, mine from our first one, like they now, every one of them's been a learning curve, and you've just picked up new things. And once you get going, Shane, it'll be you'll be flying through them in no time. And it'll take a lot less to edit, and you'll find yourself just more relaxed and just smoother conversation.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Like I, the smoother conversation. All right. Like I know, the first time I ever did it, and like what I'm doing now, was a few weeks ago. I did like a question and answer session, and the Lord God Almighty, I was nervous, and I didn't know what really to say, and I was trying not to be too awkward and the whole lot. And looking back at it now, I was just like, oh my God. But
like everything, the more you do it, the better you get.
oh, that's it. That's it. Look at you hit the nail right in the head there. Looking back at it now, like I even feel like I've come on an awful lot since then. Like I think I was delighted I had something like 600 followers, and it's after doubling since. So I'm look at I've just been absolutely blown away by how well the page has taken off. It's like starting off, I was told, look at there's plenty of people like this doing things like this, and you only know a handful of people in the racing industry. But like it's gone to a stage now where nearly every yard in the country has seen or heard an article or heard the name Peaky Blogger. It's just been mad. It's been absolutely crazy. I couldn't be happier with the way things have gone. But yeah, it's like it's tough going. I'm not going to lie, it is tough going. It's all like a voluntary sort of thing. Like it's an unpaid at the minute, and it's all out of my own time and effort and everything else like that. But like when you see some of the comments that are coming through, it just makes it so much more worth it. Like it really does make it all worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely does. But the likes of the podcast there, the first one's never great. Like if you look back there, Dean, that took me about 5 hours to edit, and it still sounded terrible. Like,
yeah.
And then if you look at the last one we did with Nick Bradley, I barely had to touch it at all.
Yeah.
Especially like the Nick Bradley one there, like it just when I listened back to it myself, like he's the type of guy that if he was, say if he was doing something for racing and he was the guest speaker, I would go out of my way to make sure I'm there because you could listen to him all day.
Yeah. 100%.
He talks so much sense.
Yeah. But like even that episode he did with Racing TV and Look on Sunday, like geez, that was so easy to listen to and everything else like that.
Yeah, he's just one of that people that you could just listen all day, and he's just a bank of information. Like,
yeah. Oh, that's it. But like I'd feel the same now. Like listening to the likes of Davey Russell, like it doesn't matter if you're talking about riding a horse or you're talking about training a horse, breeding a horse. He knows absolutely everything. Like I definitely think he is the best brains in terms of like even breeding. Like his knowledge of stallions and mares and the whole lot, and just how well they'd work together and how well they'd be bred together and all that is just absolutely fascinating. Like you'd nearly feel like if you had him on, all you'd have to do is just let him roll and just talk away, and that'd be it. You wouldn't have to do a thing.
Yeah, he definitely does. He seems to have a wealth of knowledge. Like anytime you see him on any of them, any interview, wherever it is, whatever TV channel or wherever radio he's on or thing, mate, like he just talks so much. Like as you say, he knows every little ins and outs of things. It's mad to think. It's like people assume that he's just a jockey, like he rides great horses, and but like no, he's a horseman. He's an all round horseman. Like if you're at a racetrack and you've betting Davy Russell and you see him coming around the home turn and he hasn't moved a muscle, you're on a good one. You're on a winner. Like, and he is gonna he's like the way he rides a race. You like, I know some people criticize jockeys and that, like, but I find I would be very hard to criticize Davy Russell. Like He always gives the horse the best chance, and if the horse isn't good enough, it just isn't good enough. Like. You look at the race at Cheltenham there. Who was it? It was in the Supreme. Like, everybody says, the rain's coming. Abracadabras, was it, or something like that? And like, he was the last horse up the hill beside Siskin, to fighting out the finish, and everybody had written him off. But it's like whenever you have a man like that, and like Davy's just unbelievable.
100%. Like, but even Davy, like he's married to a lady from my hometown, like, and it's mad. Like, I remember seeing him there one day. He was with his kids and the whole lot, like, and I think it was after Galway or it was before Galway. It was one to two anyway. It was more than likely after, but like he was coming out of the petrol station like with a handful of ice creams for the kids, and he was sucking away on one himself. Like, it was just totally mad. Like, you're seeing this particular lad, and he's riding in Cheltenham, riding in Aintree, and he's coming into a town that has maybe 3,000 or 4,000 of the population, and he's sucking away on an old ice cream cone.
That's mad. It's a funny old world, eh?
Oh, stop. That's it.
Yeah, but you think sometimes, like, they don't have any sort of life nearly outside horses.
Oh, yeah, but sure, that's it. Like, even like when I was down with Mahon, I never realised how hard a trainer has it. Stephen, like, he does absolutely everything, and I know he's gotten an awful lot of stick in the past, but I've always had and always will have great time for Stephen. Like, he spends morning, noon, and night with the horses and looking after the horses, and he does absolutely everything he can to make sure the horses are right. And if they're not right, or if you do something that might make them not right, he'd be the first one to tell you.
He'd make sure we're doing things right anyway.
Oh yeah. When I started off, I remember I answered his phone I answered his phone call before I started down there, and he asked me, had I any riding experience? I says no. He says, what height are you? I says, I'm touching around 6 foot. He says, what weight are you? I says, I didn't want to tell him I was nearly 17 stone, so I says, I'm about 15, 16 stone. And he just says, oh, shite. He says, right. He says, I had a lad that came down to me and he was picking stones at 14 and he ended up riding 1,000 minutes from me. So he says, there's hope for you yet. He says, I'll see you Friday. So I went down Friday. I went down on the Friday, and I actually, like, after I finished the phone call that day, I thought it was strange. Like, he was in a real good mood, and he was real laughy and chirpy and the whole lot. And the Friday then I rang him because I sort of had an idea where his yard was, but I didn't know how far. I know you had to go down a sort of a back road. I didn't know how near down the back road it was. So I rang him in the morning, and he was sort of in a different bit of a mood. And he came up to me then when I got out of the car, and he says, I thought you were messing with me. He says, I was a bit of a messer back in my day. He says, he used to see any lad looking for jockeys or anything like that, and I might ring them, and he'd give a big spiel. And there was one particular story he told me I thought was absolutely hilarious. I can't remember. I think it was a Cork-based trainer. Might have been Mick Winters now. I'm not 100% sure. But he rang him up anyway, and he says, well, Mick, you're looking for a jockey. We'll say Mick anyway. Oh, yeah. He says, have you any riding experience? He says, yeah, ridden 1,000 winners. Did you? Any ones we'd know? He says, oh yeah, the winner in the Gold Cup. Oh really? He says, which horse was that? He says, oh, I don't know. I can't remember, he says. What do you mean you can't remember? He says, the Gold Cup. He says, you surely know which horse it was in the Gold Cup. Yeah, I remember riding the Gold Cup. He says, but jeez, I woke up then, he says. And I remember him telling me this when I got in, and he says, "I thought you're another one of those lads trying to get their back on me, like." Um, and he says, "Right," he says, "Come on in with me anyway." And he showed me the ropes, and like I walked in, I told him straight out. I says, "Look, I says I've no experience working with horses. I'm a chef my whole life." I says, "The most I know how to put on is a head collar and tie." I says, "I know nothing about tacking up. I know nothing about say getting a horse ready for race, and I know nothing about anything bar a head collar and tie." And he says, "Right." So he brought me in and he was like, "You know how to rug up a horse?" I said, "No, I don't." And brought me in anyway, showed me how to rug up a horse, and he's the best in the world. And he gave me a chance when there was people like before him, like they rang me, and as soon as they heard I couldn't ride, they didn't want to know and told me to go looking for a job in a hunter's yard or anything like that. But that was no good to me. All I wanted to do was race and one day race ride. But like Stephen and Turnstone, like he took me in when no one else would, and I'll always and will always be grateful for that. And he taught me an awful lot, and only for him, I probably wouldn't have started up the peaky blogger as well at the same time. So
I'd say you probably got a lot of contacts from that.
yeah, well, I suppose, yeah. Not as much as you'd think. You see, I was a non-riding stable hand, so nearly all the time when Stephen would be going to races, like I was sort of looking after the yard sort of thing. So I only went racing with him once, to Navan, and like to this day, it's probably one of the highlights of the short career I had racing. But no, it was the first time I ever led a horse around the parade ring in Navan, Smoky Jojo. Like I know it sounds mad, but like the pride I had, I felt like I was leading Altio around the ring. It was just absolutely incredible. Like
Yeah.
I remember growing up, and I remember saying to my mother and my father that, "Oh, one day I'm going to be one of them jockeys, or if not, I'm going to be one of them trainers, or if I don't even make that," he says, "I'd love to be one of them lads who walk the horses around the ring." So at least I lived up to that dream anyway.
Yeah. She'll have to try commentary next.
Oh Jesus, no, I wouldn't be able for commentary at all. That wouldn't be my protocol, I don't think.
Give Jerry Hannon a run for his money.
Oh, there's no, if I'd have a fairly sharp tongue from the chefing, so if they were getting in the heat of the action, I wouldn't be able for it at all. I wouldn't be late, or if I was, I wouldn't say I have a great long career like Desi Scahill or Jerry Hannon. I certainly wouldn't be able to late anyway.
Getting sacked for bad language.
Oh, stop! That's it.
Have a couple of quid on one, and you'll be sharing a home.
Oh yeah, that's it.
A bit like Dean, though.
Oh, stop.
That was a fun one.
If you said that, oh, you fucking bollocks.
They we at the Punchestown Festival, maybe 4 years ago now, I'd say, or so. They Boyd Sports had a commentary challenge on. So
yeah, I actually seen that. All right, I seen that video. All right, and I think you're paid. Oh, guys, I think you had a few jars in you that day.
We didn't have any. We were only literally on the door.
Oh, stop.
Literally on the door of the thing, and the woman, she says, "Oh, go on, here lads, come on, take part in this." And there was 5 of us, and we were like, nah, she's too sober for that. Sorry, we'll come back later on. She says, "Oh no, come on, try it out." She says, "Oh, it's good crack, good fun." And so me and the other fellow, we says, "Sure, cheese, we'll give it a go, we'll have a laugh." So we looked at the script, and it gave you the thing. Jesus, pal, mum, we'll give it. I said, "Well, we'll have a lash at it." I says, "And we'll just act the buck idiots, and sure." I says, "If people laugh at us, then happy days." I says, "At least we've made somebody laugh in the day and not cry." So we just gave it an old belt, and sure, we give Ruby a bit of stick, and sure, Like every good bit of racing, sure, Ruby has to come on for a bit of stick every now and then.
Oh yeah, sure, that's it. That's the
Although
drive.
I was luckily enough, I was in Punchestown the day he retired. Now
Yeah,
that was one of the best races, like, of the week that week.
yeah.
And
I what you call it. I remember seeing that race myself, and oh my god, like he just gave Kenboy an absolute piece of a ride. Like the way he just travelled and the way he jumped as well. Just it was the perfect ride for him to go out.
yeah,
And I'd say he wouldn't have gone out on it like any other way or with any other horse. For
he
that.
I mind the interviews after he was saying, or watching, he was saying that if Rath Vindham would have won the national, he was gone then. And
Yeah.
and he says the next one was the Punchestown,
Yeah,
the festival, or whatever. Like, and the conditions that day for Kemba was perfect, good ground. You know, he
yeah,
went from the front like he did at entry, and there was no stopping him. Like, you know,
yeah,
and I remember like the stands that day, like everybody was just flocked to the winners' enclosure, not because of anything other than as the fact that it was the Gold Cup, and you know it just attracts a big crowd.
yeah,
But I mind him. I was standing at the door to the weigh room, and like it was just the next race was about to go off, and there was about 4,000 or 5,000 people standing between the parade ring and the weigh room, just to
yeah,
cheering and clapping. Like that's the effect that I had on racing.
yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. But
I think
like,
the images of Davy Russell pouring the bucket of water over his head, that will
yeah.
always stick with me.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it was oh like it was a seriously good race, but like it was a serious emotional time as well. Like I know there's a few people like and they'd be I'm not gonna name them or anything like that, like but they're nearly reduced to tears like it's a legend of the sport, like and he was gone so quickly. Like I know like the likes of AP Mackay, he sort of gave a heads up, but like Ruby Walsh didn't. And it was just like going sheer joy and celebration to like this is what we do now.
Yeah. I take it the back of everyone's mind was probably when will Ruby retire? Like, how long is he going to go on? But like the way he went out, I don't think anyone really expected it
No, that's
that
it.
soon.
Like,
Anyway,
yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting it anyway, and I don't think I realized what actually happened when it did happen as well. It took me about 5 minutes to come to terms with it. Like just the way he rode that day was just absolutely unbelievable, and like I honestly don't think he could have gone out in a better way. Just it was the closest thing to a perfect ride I've ever seen anyway.
well, true. I wasn't too happy. I was on Albion Foot with that.
No, I was on Kenboy. I will admit that I was
I,
on Kenboy.
I was on Kemba that day too, and
Yeah,
now we were standing at the back of the last fence at Punchestown, and the whole line along the fence from the bookmakers right down, even from the RT stand right down near the one line, like it was packed with people,
yeah,
and like they were standing 5-6 deep, and luckily
yeah,
enough we got down early, we got the rail, and like there was a lad standing a couple of behind us, like he never shut up the whole way, the whole race. There's that crooked out in front there, that crooked, and you're like, the one person ended up saying, "I would like to hear the commentary over ahead of hearing you."
yeah,
And he was all, "Oh, that's not my fault." And he goes, "Aye, it is." He says, "Do what everybody else does and keep fucking quiet."
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's
like
it.
it was, and like
Well,
them. Whenever Ruby came past the one line, gone you, and everybody cheering and roaring, and like it just drowned them out.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Like,
And
I
what would you say for you is a race that stands out in your mind?
oh, a race that stands out. trying to think now. You've caught me off guard now. I'd say it was the Gold Cup. I think it was it 2010 when Denman, Otto Star, and Long Run were paired up together. I don't know if it's 2010 now or not, but it was definitely around that time anyway. It was late noughties, early teen sort of a thing. But like Jesus, that race was unbelievable. Most recent time, I suppose you'd have to say, yeah. Well, I suppose like I'm a big fan of N Violin, so I'm going to be very predictable now, and I'm going to say the Ballymore this year. Like just the way he looked in trouble, like coming around the bend, and within the space of a couple of strides, he was upside and past him. Like he just blew them away, and he is definitely one horse that I think is going to be. I can see him being the next best mate, if not better. I think he's going to absolutely shatter Altior's unbeaten record when he goes novice chasing next year. I hope he goes novice chasing next year. I can't see why he wouldn't, but like he's a great hurdler as well. But I think he's going to be an even better chaser. He's got that look about him. I've seen him in Naas, the day he won against Elixir Rane, and I thought he was literally the closest thing to the second coming of Jesus Christ. He is just the perfect victor. Like he's got a perfect scope for chasing as well, and he just about does enough. Like he's a horse that doesn't kill himself, but we don't know where his limitations lie yet. Like, you know what I mean?
He gets the job done. Like,
100%. He's one of my favourites anyway this year. Himself and Honeysuckle. They'd probably be two of my favourite horses of the past year. They've really, really come through the ranks.
next year's novice chases will look good anyway.
Yeah, like it wouldn't be anything that he hasn't beaten already. Like,
it really depends how he takes them.
Yeah, that's it. But he definitely has the look about him of top class chaser, and he has the look of a future multiple Gold Cup winner as well. I know that's a bold statement to make, but I've never seen a horse that look as good. I've never seen a horse that look as good or look as made for chasing as he is. He's just he's a perfect 10 out of 10.
Who would you make for an early claim for next year's Gold Cup?
Oh, Gold Cup. I haven't actually looked at the markets yet. Album photo, will he do it? Will he not? I don't know.
Champ will come up.
Huh?
Do you think Champ will come up and do the business?
Yeah, he could do. He definitely finished like he's got a serious talent, all right.
I think he has to improve his jumping personally.
Yeah, he
that's him down hugely.
Yeah, his finishing ability looks good, but his jumping definitely needs to improve. I don't know. Actually, come to think of it now, was his good finishing ability, or was it just
the two in front just tired out completely?
Yeah, that's another thing you have to look at as well. I don't know. It's a hard thing to call for next year's Gold Cup. If Presenting Percy can get right, there's no reason why he can't win it. But I think he's had too hard of a career, and I think if he doesn't win it next year, I can't see him winning it. And I know he's a Galway horse and he's a Galway favourite. And if he wins the Gold Cup next year, all of Galway will go mad. But being realistic, I'd find it very hard to believe he'll win the Gold Cup.
I can't see him doing it now, to be honest.
No,
I think he was, in my opinion, Presenting Percy was overrated.
Yeah, I'd be sort of agreeing with you and disagreeing with you at the same time.
Yeah.
I'd say he was more overworked. Like you look at his first two seasons as a novice, he raced 18 times in 2 years or in 2 seasons. Like that is an awful lot going. Like even the toughest of horses, Denman only, I think the most he ran in a season is 5 times. But like presenting Percy nearly double that amount. Like, and I just think all that work just caught up with him. And now look at he's been running creditably. Like he's putting credible
He's
performances.
still
like,
keeping up with them now, but
he's
still able
just
to throw
not.
a few punches.
Yeah, like he's just not the horse he was. He like the year he won that race against Admiral Photos and with the RSA. Um, he absolutely pinged every fence and he just cleared up off the line. He'd like before Album Photo fell, like he had him well bet anyway. He'd have bet him 5-6 lengths anyway easily. But I just think personally he was overworked and he just did too much too soon in his career, and I think it just caught up with him. But I wouldn't listen to me either. At the same time, I'm not a trainer. I'm not a jockey, so I wouldn't know. But it'd be interesting to see now in the next year or like the next 2 years when say Envoy Lynn goes for Gold Cup and if Presenting Percy is still knocking around, who will Davy Russell go for? That's one I'd be sort of keeping an eye on. I've a feeling he'd be sort of siding with Envoy Lynn. I know he said he'd
Sure,
remain.
have to.
Yeah, I know he said he'd remain loyal to Presenting Percy, but no, I think you'd have to be mad to turn down Envoy Lynn's side.
Yeah, and Violin could be the best horse we've ever seen. Like,
Oh
potentially.
yeah, like he is just the perfect picture. I definitely think he's the best horse of the generation, and he's going to be talked about like the likes of the best mate and the likes of. I know I can't see him being as good as Arkle, but he'd be talked about like Arkle, the way if he can take the chase, and like I'm fairly confident he will. Oh, as Jerry Hannon would say, fasten your belts or fasten your seatbelts. Strap yourselves in. That's the one. Strap yourselves in. Like he's going to be something really, really special.
With a bit of luck, anyway.
Yeah, hopefully.
It'll just be interesting to see how he goes over the fences.
Yeah, that's it. I wouldn't be too worried. Like he won a fairly good standard point to point, and he definitely jumps hurdles like he jumped in, like he'd love to go bigger as well. So I wouldn't be too worried about him going chasing. I'm actually crying out to see the day when he does go chasing because I think he's going to be absolutely unbelievable.
I still want to see him and Honeysuckle go head to head. That's the thing
Yeah.
I'm mouth watering for.
Yeah, that'd be interesting as well. It was one thing like Mahan. I was mad about Honeysuckle and I still am mad about Honeysuckle. But the time I was in Mahan, I couldn't show up about Honeysuckle, and he ended up calling me Honey. He nicknamed me Honey because I wouldn't show up about it. Coming up to Cheltenham, I was so tied between herself and Benny the Jew, and I have to admit I went against her. I went with Benny the Jew, and I was absolutely gutted. But at the same time, I was delighted to see Honeysuckle keep her unbeaten streak, and I think she definitely, if there was any people doubting her, I think she absolutely blew them out of the water when she bet Benny the Jew.
Yeah, I was the only one on our Cheltenham podcast that backed her.
Yeah.
The rest of them all went for Benny.
Yeah, well, look, it was definitely one of the best matchups of the festival, I found it very hard to separate the two of them. I'm a big fan both of Benny and Honeysuckle. But just, I thought experience would pay dividends that day. But, oh my God, Honeysuckle just, he completely slip shot through Stormy Ireland, and she just fired around the final bend. Just cantered up the hill. I think definitely if the race was run again, I don't think Bobby Power might have let her up so easily. I think that might have been a little bit of a boo-boo made by Puppy.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another podcast episode done and in the bag. And that one's for the Irish Cancer Society. If you do want to help us reach our goal, the link to donate will be in the description of this video. And Shane, many thanks for coming on. It's been absolutely brilliant to have you on. And we look forward to seeing your podcast and your future endeavours.
Yeah, perfect, sure. We'll keep in contact anyway, and sure, we might get down as a special guest.
We definitely will, and I'll drop the link to your Facebook page and your Twitter page in the description below.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Shane.
Okay.
Take it easy, bye.